let's get ready to rock. That's right, I'm talking about rocks today, and we're going to learn about them. These ones, and maybe also these ones. Pretty exciting, right? Well, you've no idea. So, you've already seen the two main rock types that we would find in our home area of Galway in the west of Ireland. If I zoom in here on Galway, you get a good look at the size of the county. It's the second biggest county in Ireland. East Galway, very large area, flat largely as you can see, and very green. And West Galway out here, between Galway and Clifton, not so flat. You can see a lot of mountain ranges there, and not so green. East and West Galway aren't just divided by Lough Corrib, which is this big huge lake here that runs from the south all the way up to the north of the county. They're also divided by their rock types. And if we look at this map here, you'll see that's the same map of County Galway, but it's coloured in with the different rock types of the county. You'll see that Galway City is right on the border between the two main rock types that you will find in the ground in County Galway. To the east of the river in Galway, you will find limestone. All this blue colour here is all limestone rock. To the west of the river, running out into South Connemara, this red colour here, you will find granite. And anybody who walks outside their door in Galway City and puts a little bit of effort into looking around will be able to find both of those types of stones. And that's what you're going to do today, after we've had a look at some information about those types of rock. And yes, rocks of Ireland, as you can see. Okay, so today we're going to be learning about the different types of rocks, and as I said, the two main rocks that you'll find around Galway City. All rocks belong to one of three different families or types of rock: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. We'll just be dealing with igneous and sedimentary today. In this lesson, we'll learn about the origins of some of the rocks in Ireland, in Galway specifically, and their locations around Galway, as well as how they were formed. So first of all, we're going to be looking at sedimentary rocks. Now this word comes from the word sediment, and sediment is something that's left behind or dropped into the ground. And this is how sedimentary rocks were formed. Mudstone, sandstone, and limestone, the main one that we'll be talking about, are called sedimentary rocks. This is because they are made up of the sediments of materials, sediments being things that are dropped down. So first of all, let's have a look at limestone, and this is the one that we really want to concentrate on in the sedimentary rock family. Like other sedimentary rocks, limestone was formed from sediments of material hardening due to pressure and heat. Limestone begins with the shells of different marine creatures. Limestone is crushed and used in foundations and concrete. In fact, most of the blocks, the concrete blocks that you will see builders using, are made from limestone. If limestone is heated on its own, it is converted to lime. Lime is a white powder that is used for making mortar and used to be used to whitewash cottages. You know, the white traditional cottages in Ireland. Limestone is pale grey and it is harder than mudstone. Limestone fizzes slightly if a drop of acid like vinegar is placed on it. The fizzing is a result of tiny bubbles of carbon dioxide. Now limestone, the key one that you're looking for there is that it's pale grey. When it's newly cut, it is generally kind of a bluish grey colour, but after a while, if it's exposed to the air, it turns to that pale grey colour that you will know already if you think about it. The limestone around Galway was laid down, wait for it, about 330 million years ago. So if we go back to look at the picture of the rock that I have here, these rocks here, that was taken in Galway, these rocks were created 330 million years ago. At this time, the area to the east of Galway, that area that I showed you here, all over, right over towards Ballinasloe, over towards the River Shannon, that was actually a tropical sea. And it was far, far, far away from where it is now. Over the millions and millions and millions of years, the movement of the Earth's crust has brought this area together with West Galway. But this was a tropical sea, and all of the little creatures in it, as they died over millions of years, their bodies dropped down to the seabed, and over hundreds of millions of years they were compressed to form limestone. And that's why if you look very carefully in limestone, it is a really, really good rock for finding fossils in. Now we'll continue our slideshow. So we've had a look at limestone already, which we know was formed from the sediments of little bodies of sea creatures hundreds of years ago and then compressed over time to form stone. Now the next one we look at are igneous rocks. Now you can probably tell from the picture already where igneous rocks come from. They come from molten rock cooling. Granite and basalt are both igneous rocks. Now these are pretty easy to remember actually, because granite is formed from one type of molten rock and basalt is formed from another. Igneous rocks are formed when magma cools and hardens. Well, I wouldn't agree fully with that. Igneous rocks are formed above and below the Earth's surface, depending on the type of rock. Molten magma can be forced into rocks, blown out in volcanic explosions, or forced to the surface as lava. So when it's below ground, molten rock is called magma, and when it's above ground, it is called lava. And that is important for which one creates basalt and which one creates granite. And we'll begin with granite. Granite is an igneous rock that forms when molten rocks cool and harden. Granite cools and hardens deep underground. So to pause there, we know that it is formed from magma underground. Granite is then forced upwards by tectonic movement. That's the movements of the Earth's crust. When plates in the Earth's crust move towards each other, they get bent and pushed upwards. And when this happens, granite mountains can be formed. And to go back to our map that I showed you, all of this area of red in South Connemara running west from Galway City, all of that granite that is in the ground here was formed deep, deep, deep underground 400 million years ago, and far, far away from where we are now. But over hundreds of millions of years, it drifted over to meet with the limestone here in East Galway, and it was pushed up towards the surface, and also the rocks above it would have been eroded away, weathered away by the weather, ground away by the rain and the wind and all that. And granite is very, very hard, so it tends to last quite a long time. Now we'll go back to our slideshow. So we run through granite again. Now granite can be used to cover walls, floors and worktops, and also it's very popular for headstones in graveyards. Granite is a light-coloured, speckled rock. It is made of 4 different kinds of particles called minerals. A milky mineral called feldspar, a glassy mineral called quartz, a clear, shiny, flat sheet like flakes called mica, and a small dark brown or black flake, a different kind of mica. Now most of the granite you'll find around Galway, as we saw in that photo, has a pinkish kind of a colour to it, and it's actually very, very beautiful when it is polished. Granite can be found in Galway, Dublin, Donegal, Carlow, Down and Wicklow. And then we go on to basalt. Now I said granite is formed deep underground when magma, molten rock underground, cools down. Basalt, can you guess, is formed when, wait till we see, it is an igneous rock. White, hot lava wells up from below the earth and pours out onto the surface, where it cools quickly and hardens into black basalt. So basalt comes from the lava that has escaped from the earth and up onto the surface through a lava flow or through a volcano. And it's very easy to identify because it is very, very dark in colour. And sometimes when you see it, you may even be able to see the pattern of the lava flow before it hardened and cooled. Basalt is used in foundations for roads and buildings. Basalt is the bedrock over a lot of County Antrim in the north, and most famously created the unique basalt column formations of the Giant's Causeway. That was through a very, very special way that the basalt cooled, and it actually formed into these beautiful hexagonal pillars, if you've ever seen photos of the Giant's Causeway. So, what I want you to do today is to take yourself out. Now, we're not going to look at the Metamorphic Rocks today. What I want you to do is take yourself out onto the local streets, the local parks, and especially, if you can, the local beaches of our town, Galway, here. And I want you to start looking for limestone and granite. Now, if you are east of the river, over this side, you are more likely to find granite lying around the place, limestone lying around the place just in its natural state. If you're over at this side of the city, Salthill, Knocknacarra, or anywhere like that, you are much more likely to find granite in the ground. I know when I go out into my garden and I try to dig a hole in my garden, all I can get is the sound of my spade hitting rocks, and those rocks are granite, and they are very hard and very, very difficult to dig out sometimes. But no matter where you go in Galway, you should be able to find limestone as well, because it's used all over the city in walls. So just take a walk around and see if you can find any limestone or granite. When you do, take a photo of it, label it, and post it in response to this video. You might even find a place along the seashore, if you get the opportunity, where granite and limestone are mixed together because of the action of the sea or even the action of glaciers. So I'm looking forward to seeing what your adventures bring back. See if you can find some granite and some limestone. Either capture it in the wild and bring it home. Be careful though, they can bite. And take a photo of it at home, or take a photo of it out in the wild and then bring it home and label the photo, post it in your response. Thank you.